Welcome to 28 Days of a Yarn, where we celebrate our history, our heritage, our culture, and our own authentic voice. And today, we got a good guy with us. His name is Aaron. Welcome to the set.
Thank you. Thanks for
Man,
having me.
you're an intriguing young fellow, man. Give people a background on who you are.
Well, I'm from Philly.
Okay.
Born and raised in Mount Airy section right outside of North Philly.
Okay.
Two-parent household. I went to private school pretty much my whole life, aside from middle school, where I went to a primarily black school, and I transitioned in about 6th or 7th grade. So
what was that cultural context of growing up in Mount Airy, being a young African-American male?
Well, Mount Airy is interesting because you have some parts that are really nice, and then you have the parts where it's like you're in the mean streets of Philly. So it's like you kind of have that contrast where it's like you're in a really nice section, and then you're in a section where it's like you're in danger of getting robbed with just walking through the neighborhood. So it was really interesting growing up and having that kind of contrast. No matter where I went, and have to know where I could go and where I had to be careful, and who I was around when I went certain places, and then having certain friends in certain areas and not having those friends in other areas and stuff like that.
So you went to private,
yes,
then public, then private.
I went to pretty much a public school when I was younger, and then I went to private from then on. So about from 5th grade on or so, I went private pretty much.
You get teased, man?
Nah, I was always an athlete, so like I never really had problems getting teased.
Okay.
The main issue I had was like, I guess the concept of the way you were treated based on where you wanted to go. So I even have friends to this day who really don't associate with me because I chose the school path rather than, kind of go to the neighborhood public school and kind of play sports there with them and then just figure stuff out as you go on kind of thing. So, I mean, because of the path that I chose, I kind of have a different relationship with some people than I had in the previous past. So
now people say, man, let's keep it real. They you know how they say, they want street cred. They want you to keep it real. Keep it really black.
Right.
Did you? Because once you get into the intellectual component of it, and like you said, you got to navigate those landscapes.
Right.
How were you able to do that? Your parents, some of your friends, your peers, and things of that nature.
Well, I think the biggest thing for me is both of my parents were cops. So like,
there you go.
It was a struggle growing up in that household sometimes, but they definitely kept me in check. And then it was like, since I was an athlete too, it was like between my parents, schoolwork, and then being an athlete, I was a 3-sport athlete. I did football, indoor track, and outdoor track. I never really had time to do anything besides that. So even if I started to kind of get pulled off course a little bit, something would always pull me back in. Okay. So it's like, even if I had those influences around me that might want to pull me other directions, I always had something that kind of kept me straight and narrow.
Raised by cops, man. It's like preacher kids, man.
You wasn't a terror? My dad was a preacher too.
Oh, he was a preacher too?
Yep.
Preacher and a cop. Double whammy there.
Yeah.
So where you going to school at, man?
Right now I'm here at Villanova.
Okay.
I'm in the business school. I'm a double major in finance and marketing and a double minor in international business and Spanish.
Man, what made you pick that, man? I mean,
Well, the one thing I realized just in my time during high school is just I was really good. The thing I was best at outside of just any one subject was just really being able to connect with people and talk to people and things like that. And just my ability to kind of connect with people from different backgrounds, connect with people who had different experiences than I would ever experience, really made me realize that I was kind of a people person. And because of that, I wanted to go into marketing. And then I did some studying into what finance was and what it took to be in finance, and I realized that was something that I really liked. And then Spanish, that whole background just came from the fact that I just really liked the language once I started studying it. So it kind of just fell into it.
Wow.
Yeah.
So coming on to this campus from Villanova, I'm coming on to Villanova campus, and was there any, how was you able to navigate the cultural experience, coming on here and you being, once again, a young man of color or black person? I always get African American, I'm crazy places. Was you perceived as athletic before you was perceived as pursuing your academics here?
Definitely. I think the automatic stigma attached to any black male that enters Villanova's campus is that you're an athlete first and a student second. Okay. And that's just a stigma that's attached to, I feel like, every black student, especially for the males. I think it's really attached from the day you walk in. And I think the thing that kind of sets you apart is just being able to go in the classroom. And I sit in the front in every class I'm in, and I definitely participate in every class I'm in. So like when I'm doing those things, all these kids on the first day realize that I'm there for business. And they realize that I'm not just some athlete there just because I can run fast, I can jump high or whatever. I'm there because I know what I'm doing. I have a future. So.
No, so you don't participate in sports, right?
No, I don't. No.
Wow, it's amazing. It's amazing. So and we're going to get to this other thing that's real tight, but I want to just wrap this one part up.
Mm-hmm.
When people find out you're a double major
Mm-hmm.
and they see that you're multi-talented,
Mm-hmm.
are they taken back by that?
I think they definitely are, especially like one of the things that kind of made me go towards that route is just in my senior year of high school, we studied Greek history.
Wow.
And in Athens, they had this concept of a REIT, which
Mm-hmm.
means to kind of be good at everything you do and not just one thing.
Mm-hmm.
And ever since I learned that, one of the things that I really tried to make sure that I did coming into college was just being good at every single thing that I did and being able to be involved in this club, be a representative in this club, be on the e-board of this, be able to do this, that, and the third. And through that, everyone sees that I'm really an academic student that's able to exceed in whatever spotlight I'm in. So I think that was like just one thing that kind of helped me to be able to show off, the type of student that I am to different people in that process.
Now, talking off camera and getting some in-house stuff on, you got an entrepreneurial spirit.
Definitely.
Enlighten folk what you do, man. That entrepreneurial spirit you have.
Right. Well, I'd say about my junior year, I got the idea to start a clothing line.
Okay.
And I was fumbling around with names for a little bit, and then for a while I just scrapped the entire project because I was like, man, nothing's good enough. I was being kind of critical of myself, and then
Mm-hmm.
I came to Villanova. I met Sheree, Kai, and Rich, and I sat down with Sheree and Kai in particular, and we started talking. They were like, this is a really good idea. So then from that day forward, the three of us just went forward with the project, really started coming up with ideas and everything. And then Rich came on as a designer, and he was really helpful in just getting all of our ideas on the computer and things like that. And the four of us together just started really building a kind of business out of it, and it really started to all come together. And we're looking at something that's going to be real and concrete within a matter of weeks soon.
So what kind of apparel is going to be, if you don't mind sharing the light on that? Like, what kind of gear? Is it going to be, jeans? Is it going to be hats? Is it going to be hoodies,
Well, it's going to be a lot of streetwear, so we're kind of
Okay.
going for we're kind of trying to put a clean look to urban wear.
Yeah,
We're kind of trying to take that stigma away from it that there is now, because right now we think of urban wear, you kind of think of a hoodie, you think of joggers and stuff like that, but you don't necessarily think, oh, that's nice. You think that's something I might just wear around or something like that. So we want to remove that stigma and put on kind of a clean, attached stigma to it. And the name of the clothing line itself is Valedictorian. So it kind of has the idea of coming out, you can achieve number one, you can achieve excellence. No matter who you are in a class of however many people, every single person has the same potential to achieve that number one spot. And everyone can aim to achieve that number one spot. So
It's funny you bring up the hoodie piece, but I know a guy who went on Wall Street and wore a hoodie. I think it's the guy that started Facebook, right?
Right, yeah.
He wear a hoodie, but nobody never see him as that way.
Right.
But we'll leave that alone.
Right.
So what are some of the things that, because I like your spirit, I like what you're doing, you're definitely energetic and driven. What are some of the things with young males and young people in the communities that we grew up in, that, because I see you as an inspiration, that you can kind of tell people to lay out that track for them? What kind of counsel would you give them to walk that line and discovering all the abilities that you did?
Right. Well, one of the first primary things I realized was just that people judge you off of how you look before they even get to know you.
Okay.
So that look that you give off is the very first thing that people see. It's the first thing that people even think of. So before I even get to meet someone, no matter what their race is, they automatically judge me based off how I look, what my hair looks like, what I look like what my clothes look like, so that you kind of give off a depiction of who you are based off what you're wearing and how you look when you meet somebody. So my first piece of advice would probably be just to make sure all the time, you look presentable. You want to look like someone who people can actually come up and talk to, not someone who people don't really trust and things like that. You want to give off that kind of persona, that kind of image that people really want to be able to connect with, because otherwise you're kind of chasing people away from something that could potentially be really great in the future. So I would just say make sure that if you're a young person, you present yourself correctly all the time, because you never know when you could meet that person. Because one of the people that I met that really helped me get into Villanova, I met him when I was out. I think I was at the grocery store with my dad, and I just happened to run into this person.
Wow.
And he was really instrumental in not helping me get in Villanova, but helped me get into my high school. He was a track coach, and we got in conversation with him. He found out that I ran track, and then it was story made from there. So just because I looked presentable, he was able to come up to me from the jump.
Wow.
And I think that's really important just in every kid, even when it comes to like dealing with cops and things like that.
Okay.
All these different situations, the more presentable you look, the different stigma that comes off.
Well, look, do you guys got a website or anything? How can people get in contact with you? 'Cause
Well,
I know it's in production.
Right.
But you got a Gmail account? Somebody
Yeah.
can just,
Well, we have an email that's up and running currently, Valedictorian LLC@gmail.com, that people can reach us at. And then we have a website that's coming soon.
Okay.
That'll be on our Instagram and Twitter page, Valedictorian_LLC. And we have that coming out. So all of these social media websites are going to be launched pretty soon. It's just a matter of we want to make sure that we have every single possible product available so that people are seeing the best of everything we have to offer, and rather than just like one thing.
Cool. And we're going to put that on the website when you see that, so you'll be able to get in contact. We really appreciate Aaron being a guest on the set today. We thank you for tuning in with 28 Days, where once again we celebrate our history, our heritage, our culture, and our own authentic voice. And as promised, we're going to keep bringing intriguing guests to enlighten and empower so you can be entertained on a daily basis. Thank you, and then tune in again. Hey, man, thank you for coming to the set, man.
Thank you. I appreciate it.